encourage you that whatever you can get it, because I am actually so exhausted. Um, I had to be in the experience, and you all know what the experience is. I was from the experience, had to go for choir rehearsal. I had to make sure, and your leader, I almost turned back, but I've been on my feet all night, and I'll explain to you why. So, the internet, you see you guys streaming on the what you all were watching YouTube. The YouTube you're watching from experience. So there's somebody who's behind the wheel that had to do that. Well, by God's grace, because it's not the grace of man, I am the person. You will not know. Now, I had to bring that because God gave Pastor Paul a vision. Pastor Paul had to run with that vision. But you see, people have to help him bring that vision to life. And why I have to say that, because as entrepreneurs, God gives you ideas. But you see, those ideas will only continue to remain in your head like great waves until you take a step. Do you get that point? I'm going to repeat it. God gave Pastor Paul a vision 20 years ago. I've been doing experience for 20 years. I've been with experience from the beginning. And I'm using this as a practical example because it's something you can verify anyway, even if you're going to House on the Rock. When God gave Pastor Paul that vision and he came to church and he said he wants to have a forum where worshippers will gather together, everybody called him mad. Everybody said to him that you are mad. No jokes. When he was about building the House on the Rock Cathedral, he said he wanted to build a church that where people could connect, where people will come and see that it's not just a common church. And when they brought out the architecture, everybody looked at it and said, "What is this?" It's just the same way as Bishop Oyedepo is coming up with the app, and everybody's like saying, "This is way out of it." It's just the same way as Pastor Adeboye when God gave him the vision to move to the camp. Now, great men don't come out just because they say they have ideas. Great men move because they have gotten that inspiration from inside of the house. And inside of the house just doesn't mean that, you're going to sit in the house. Inside of the house means that you have sat in a subtle manner. You have sat in a position where God is able to speak to your spirit mind. Now, when that vision has been given to you, you need to do what? Take what? And not just a step. A step is this, but you need to take a move. And taking a move means that you need to break boundaries. And so when the experience started, it became an issue and he said funding. I was not I will not, because social media is very low, I will not say some very deep things about the experience, because I would just on the surface. The budget alone for lights, for lights that you see, and if you watch experience every year, who can tell me one thing that changes if you're very observant? Like I said, I want it to be very interactive. I want people to learn because you're all entrepreneurs. And that means you're going to have what? Am I speaking to everyone? Yeah. So you're all entrepreneurs, and that means you're going to have what? Businesses. Am I right, Robert? I hope I'm speaking because a lot of people are looking at. So you're going to have businesses, and there is something that must be very particular to you as a business owner. So that's why I'm throwing the question out to everybody. Just think. I'm not going to crucify you. You can tell me one significant thing that you've seen over the years that has changed in the experience, minus Robert and minus leaders. Yes, sir. Quality of the camera, good. There's another thing. There's sound, there's something, think something. I don't want to give a hint because if I give a hint, everybody will know. So I'll take you back to Genesis. Now, when God said that, and He looked into the atmosphere and He said there was a difference between night and day, and then exactly the lighting. Then there's another thing too. And when God created the night and the day, He created it on somewhere. What was that? That's the earth. But there's something that I'm relating that earth to in experience. The what? Exactly. If you notice very well, every year, except for the last 2 years, the stage and the light are always different. And do you know why? Do you know why? He is setting the game so that people who want to copy Him, He will give them something to do like this. This year's light, we all were all screaming. This year's light was different. Very, very different. They started setting up, actually, when they're setting up experience set up experience, we start immediately trade fair ends, which is trade fair starts from 1st to 7th. And then from 1st to 3rd. And then from the 3rd, we now start to try to set up, we have to clean up and all of that. Now, unusual praise is coming down to TBS. Abi? And so many other churches. But if you see that every church that has tried to come to copy what House on the Rock has done, they always have issues with what? And another thing again. And then the third one, someone said again, exactly. Pastor Paul is the first person that brings musical artists that they're all 5 to 6. And for you to fly in musical artists doesn't do business class. Sometimes. It brings, like someone like now, his Revolton comes with his whole choir. The whole thing, yes. And then they lodge all of them in a portal. So imagine all of them. So every year, so this year we had about how many artists? Close to 20 or 30. All of them are all lodged at a portal. God gave him a vision. He took it, he didn't take a step. He took what? A move. That's the word. And that move has given back to what? The experience. And getting back to the experience, a lot of lives have also decided to come out with different things that have fed them to satisfy themselves, to be able to feed their pockets. Whatever business idea you have of is something to be able to tackle a problem, to resolve a problem. That's number one business rule. Whatever business idea you have must be something that can resolve a problem, not a thing that will add to a problem. And why did Pastor Paul come up with experience? You realize that worshipers were always coming up with concerts. Musicians were always doing concerts. You had, sorry, I'm not trying to make everybody look, I'm very young. You look back into the concerts of, if you heard of Boys to Men, when you travel abroad, you go to LA, some of us are not traveled, we just look abroad, you see LA, you see all those kind of large concerts where you have a lot of people. And he sat one day and said, how come Christians, we call ourselves Christians, what are Christians? What is the full meaning of Christians? Christ followers, Christ-like. So if I'm a Christ-like, means that I have the embodiment and the authority and the power in me to take over what Christ has done. So that means if Christ stand in the boat and speak to the flood of the sea and cease, be still, that means I also have that power. So if we are Christ-like, that means we should be able to do times 2 of what the Davidos and the Bonner Boys do. Every time Burna Boy does a concert or Davido, what happens? It's a what? It's sold out. It's sold out. Give me this mic because it's distracting me. Every time you cannot hear me. I don't want us to be distracted because I want us to listen to get points. Okay. So every time a Burna Boy or a Davido does a concert, what happens? It's a what? Why is it a shutdown? Because why? There is a particular song you and I want to come and hear him live to perform. Now, when we hear him live performing, that song tinkles in your mind. Oh, I have gone to the show to see Burna Boy live. That's the catch. I'm going somewhere. I have gone to the show. Now, Burna Boy releases, there's one of his, which songs do we know about? But all Christians, man, I know we all go out, so let's not form. Nobody forms for me here. Which song is Burna? Breakfast. I don't know how breakfast. The one, is that the one he did with Tony Braxton's intro? Huh? That's the one. Now, get the concept. He knows that a lot of people know Tony Braxton, but he had to relate to the old with the new to create a concept. He now took a Tony Braxton's intro and then puts his own lyrics and merges it together and comes up out with something. Now, when you listen to it, the first thing I hear is like the Tony Braxton. So that's already, that's Tony Braxton come up. Then you now switch to a Burna Boy. So it recycles and it rekindles and stays in your mind. Now, so truly, in your mind, you're hearing that Burna Boy is having a show in America. You're thinking that maybe Burna Boy is going to host a Tony Braxton to feature that song. And it says the ticket is worth $100 a week. So you pay that money to see a Burna Boy because you're expecting to see a live performance of what? Tony Braxton and Burna Boy on the stage. Some people, when they go into business, it's not just because they want to go into business. They go into business because they want to satisfy their clients. And in satisfying their clients, you must make sure that you develop a product that is good enough to meet the client's end. Do you get that one? Now, as someone looking at all of this, I said, okay, we all see Don Juan, we all see Ken Franklin, we see Ken Franklin. But how many Nigerians have had the option of seeing a Ken Franklin perform on stage? I have not. The first time I saw Ken Franklin was in TBS. So he says, okay, we hear, do you want the revolution? Do you? So I said, okay, no problem. I will what? Bridge the gap. I will pull the resources together. This is me. God has given me a vision. So I have taken a move. In taking this move, I need to what? I can't go to America to see Ken Franklin because it's going to be what? Very expensive for me. And at the end of the day, because what's going to involve is that I will need to first of all get a visa. Secondly, I will need to book an appointment. Thirdly, I will need to make sure that he is performing because when Ken Franklin is performing in the studio, it's different from when he's talking to me live. So I will not get the satisfaction of what I want when he's talking to me live. So what did he do? He what? Bridged the gap. And then provided the same quality that you listen to a Ken Franklin on tape. Thank you. And then you bridge the gap, he now brings it live. And guess the selling point? He makes it free for you. That means for every business you do, there must be a catchphrase. What's the catchphrase of the business that you want to do? Why are you going into that business? So the catchphrase is that, everybody is looking for now. It has now become a generational program. Everybody is now looking forward to an experience. Now, first of all, we were not struggling for VIP because you just want to get. Now, this is it. Before I got hitched into experience. I got to TBS. I was sitting at those, those places that people. No, not the picture right there. That up place. I don't know. Oh, I don't know what they call it. Sorry. You know when you get into TBS, that flank, the overflow. And guess where I was sitting? I was sitting at the corner, at the end, because I came late. So my mind was the first time I got to experience it. Almost shaking the experience. What's going to be there in the experience? I got there at 12 midnight and it was fully packed. I could even move my leg. So now I got to that corner. I stayed at that corner. And guess what? I could really hear what was going on the stage. I now said to my mind, what did I say to my mind? I must what? Get to VIP. I must get to VIP that the next year I'm not going to sit there. What step have you put in your business when God gave you the idea? Have you just sat on the idea and said, okay, let's wait for the God Jesus nation. When the God Jesus nations come, I will submit my budget, I will speak, and I will pitch my business, and I will lead it. Are you guys getting somewhere? Are you understanding my analogy? Are you understanding my product? Because it's called, when you design a product, you must put it on the table and you put sample. So when you sample it, you say, why is this product better than this product? What can I do for this product to be better? Let me throw a question to you guys. Do you know why Coca-Cola is still in business? We'll get to that. Let me not forget my points. Please, I will charge you if you are distracting me because I want everybody to listen. Now, so I now said to myself, Robert, and I said, I will move to VIP. I said, I cannot sit in this place. That means in my mind, I have determined that will come next year. So I came December. By December the next year, I have said I will move. That means I have taken a personal interest and decided I will take a step to move from point A to point B. And guess what? What did I have to do? I had to find a way to get to the church and not just become the church. I now became a worker. I became a worker. For you to do a successful business, have you gone to see the people who have done those businesses before? Why did they fail? Why did they fail? The woman who does akara on the bus stop stopped selling akara tomorrow yesterday. Why did she stop selling akara? Why do you think if you start to sell akara tomorrow, your akara will succeed? One of the foundations of business is that you will study the failure of your successor. Because no matter who is a BMW, I try to understand why a man who has a BMW, he still drives a BMW 7 Series, you can verify. He owns Costaris. He's practically one of the richest. But when he saw a Mikano start to produce vehicles, do you think he was still going to sit down and wait for Costaris? Because he realized that Costaris is the official distributor of BMW cars. BMW cars are German products. Now, German products are supposed to be equated with our Peugeot. Our parents taught us how to drive Peugeots, the Beetles, and all of that. So, now, BMWs are good for us. But he has realized that BMW, because we have a problem in this country called inflation, which means that if my brother makes 100 million naira today, for him to take care of his BMW, he has to make 200 million naira. What did he do? Or what has he done over time? He had to what? Diversify. Are we getting somewhere? Are we lost? Am I moving too fast? And so, and I decided, I said, okay, I got to become a worker, and then I got to VIP. And then along the going, and I said, because I want to be in front stage. I want to be able to see the artist. Now, there's another lesson I'm going to bring out of this. Now, I said what I want to have a VIP ticket. I didn't have in mind. Listen, I never had in mind to take care of the internet solution for experience. I never had that mind. I wanted to become what? Sit in VIP and enjoy the show. Now, I get into the church. On getting into the church, there's an arm of the church, because the church is divided into there's an arm called the E-team. So the E-team takes care of basically, and then the E-team has the IT and blah blah blah, and then the rock media is behind all of those things. Now, on getting into the E-team, I now realize there's a problem. Now, in that problem, I now realize that, I can do this. I don't need the VIP ticket again because now I have the fuller access. So if I say nobody of course, if I say nobody's going to browse in experience, I have the right and I can shut it down. Because I had to come up with years before I now took the driver's wheel, I had to come up with the idea and the organogram, the diagram of how the internet will be distributed. Because internet will land at TBS and it has to be distributed, because we then realized that we had over 700,000 people who were coming into the TBS. I think it's distracting. We have over 700,000 people who were coming into this TBS just to watch the show. But we now have people who sit at home and just want to watch because they cannot get into the crowd. But this is what happens to some entrepreneurs. In trying to establish their business, they get distracted. I have left my VIP. I came solely for VIP. I said I was going to bring out the lesson. I came solely for VIP. I just said, okay, let me find out how to get the VIP ticket so that for the next experience, I would apply. But I now got into the church, and then somehow, I got into eating, and then here's that there's a problem for the experience, which has to do with the internet. And I now said, okay, my VIP ticket. And then I now moved to this. Did I ever get to sit down the VIP gig? No. Did I solve the VIP problem? How? No, let's answer seriously. Did I solve the VIP problem? 4 minutes. Okay, don't worry. Did I solve the VIP
for yourself?
Yes, did I solve the VIP? God bless you. Because I got distracted by something else and decided to move into something else that was not in the plan at all. Now VIP ticket carried me go there. I was sitting up there and I said I wanted to wear VIP so that to sit in front and say, oh, okay. And let me just enjoy the show. So I now get into the church and now, boom. Until date. I was actually sitting while I was thinking about this. And I said, yesterday I was sitting and I was sleeping up and I said, I remembered I was looking just to sit. I just wanted to come sit and enjoy the show early in the morning, go back to my life. Now, so it's so ridiculous that now there was one year that one blessed human being, I don't know how she was dancing, cut the internet cable at 12 midnight. It's an experience I will never forget. I just know a lot of people would have, and you know the funny thing about Nigerians, so they were really throwing so much bomb to us. You useless media, you internet this thing, what kind of business? I felt like, sometimes you see some of these comments you throw, it's us. Because it's like, hold you, the blow I will give you will not recognize yourself. But you are getting frustrated because you cannot see the show. Me, I am receiving hits from Pastor Paul. Because Pastor Paul will not come to me on that day. He will go to his next day. Pastor Paul will come, another person will come, and everybody's, what is happening? Confusion comes when you don't take a proper decision when you're setting up entrepreneurship. You can get distracted. So at 12 midnight, we had to start laying cable. And had to lay cable with people who were already seated and connected. And if anybody here who knows about that, you need to lay cable, you need to create it, you need to test, and all of that. That was my worst day. And also the year that rain fell. So you see, I have said all of this. To help you all to relate. Doing business in Nigeria is not as easy as we think. But when God gives you the idea, what do you do with it? You what? Make it easy. The same thing has also happened in my IT. I work for one of the biggest hospitals, they call them. But I sat down to understand, how did he become the number one hospital or number two hospital that his name had now become a name that people, when they call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hospitals in Nigeria, they must mention that hospital. How? As an entrepreneur, consistency is your number one seatbelt. Consistency. And I was trying to speak something to Robert, and I was telling him that, and let me share this with you before I round up. I have 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Next time you should not be giving 20 minutes, you should give me 2 days.
You can't be for the weekend. No problem.
I was telling Robert that the devil will never come to meet you. Will not come and meet you physically to attack you. How do you think the devil will attack you? I'm hearing some your thought. I wanted to say something.
Instructions.
Your mind. You think about it, the devil will never, all the things that the people are doing. And I know it's so interesting to me that we all laugh at, we accuse the devil and say the devil is the one that makes us to lie. Is it the devil that makes you to lie? Is it the devil that makes that ugly? Or anybody, sorry, there's not going there. Is it the devil that makes that person to steal? What happens? What does he do? What happens? Did the devil go to tell Eve that fruit, you should not eat it? What mechanism did he use? What is lust? What is desire? What is thought? It's what? The body is divided into 3 parts. I'm sure we understand that. You have your body,
Spirit,
you have your soul, and your mind. What do you think goes on in your mind every day?
your will, thoughts.
I said the 2 of you should not talk. I want to hear my teeth. I am here for comments. No, the first thing is everything. So what would you eat? So when you say what do you eat, what's the next thing that comes? For it, yes, how do I eat food? And God bless, probably you have already made desire to eat porridge. Beautiful porridge, but you do not have what? The resources to buy that porridge. What's the next thing that comes to your mind? And in how do you get the money? What do you think about? Now, if you cannot get a job, what happens then? Feel free. Who do you call? Feel free. In the maga, you look for the maga. No, seriously. See, I am a listen. People call me a pastor, yes. I am a down-to-earth person. I know why. The knowledge that Christians do not know, they will go outside and learn, and that's what's affecting our youth today. We run away. I'm sure there's nobody here that is less than 8. We run away to teach our young people what happens to them when they have the issues, when they have the attractions of the body, when they have the things of the body. I'm not like that. When they have the urges of the body, we do not teach them how to manage. We only teach them how to plate. A pastor tells in church, do not. But what happens when I have the feelings? How do I manage it? We say, don't lie. How do you manage not to get to the situation, not to tell a lie? A lot of pastors now like them are now beginning to learn, to understand. It is not to destroy. It is to how to manage so you do not get to that situation again. Now she's hungry and she thinks maybe she doesn't have the money. The next thing she now carries a phone and will probably calls the next person and says, oh, I'm hungry. Now, if you call me and tell me I'm hungry, the next thing I'm thinking is what? As a guy, what's the next thing I'm thinking? No, she's giving me green light. Please, pardon me if I'm wrong. Because for you to ask somebody that you are hungry means that you have a level of communication and means that you have a level of kind of attraction to that person. You don't go ask me something about your food when you know what they say, that boy. Because when you're asking me that I should buy that food, you're already looking at saying, that guy is fine small. I should round up. Okay, so I need to. So let me try and bring my whole thoughts to this is hard. This is very hard for me. Because I've actually opened so many doors. Okay, so let me try and round up everything so it makes sense to whoever is recording or whoever is listening, so that I'm just speaking and speaking and speaking so that you're able to learn something and apply it to your business. So I was using up the philosophy of she having to be looking for food and looking for things. Now she's going to only think of someone out of her comfort zone. That's the point I want to bring out. She's going to think of somebody within her comfort zone to help her resolve that problem. But she has not tackled that problem. Because tomorrow, she will get hungry again. How many of your businesses tackles the problem outside? Now you have an idea. How do you go about bringing that business alive? And in bringing that business alive, there's so many things. You must first of all do what we call SWOT. You have to do your analysis of who, because there's no idea that God gives you that God has not given somebody else.
That's true.
But the most important thing is now who first fits. Now, experience has become a brand that if you are trying to do another experience, you become a miniature. You must either supersede what Pastor Paul has done or unusual praise have tried. And I would say to them, now, if I were in their shoes, because they are Catholics, Pastor Paul did not tell you that the gathering is only for PFN. He said it's a gathering of what? Worshippers. If I were in their shoes, what would I have done? I would have what? Emerged. There's some businesses that you should not start all alone because it will swallow you. There's some business that you need to merge together. But the problem we have is that people do not still understand the foundation of partnership. If you're going to VI, there is a rig that is on CMS there. I don't know if somebody a lot of you have looked at it. When you're going to BI, there's one big rig. When you're going to get to BI, just look at your right here. I worked in that company. You know what killed that company? And I'll call the name. It was greed. They were the first Nigerians that signed up with Mobile that were drilling oil. Bro, they were cleaning out. They were making $1 million. This company is about over 8 years. There are 3 rigs. That thing you see there is a rig, and that rig drills oil. So that means if you have a contract with Mobile, you need someone to drill your oil. So that thing there drills oil, and they charge per day, per drop, not per day. So you have that drill, you have that machine, and you now have your different movement. So now Mobile will not pay you per head. Mobile pays you per what you drill. But my people, they say lack of knowledge. The 2 of them came, set up this business, and they got carried away. And that is one problem with we entrepreneurs, even with us that do still do 8 to 5. You see $1 million in your account and you're sharing $500, Papa, you will get distracted in the early 90s. But you do not think of the future. That is why the white people are still better than us. Because why? They want to keep a legacy. They do not want to eat and end. So, number 1, consistency. Number 2, remember that every business idea that God gives you, someone else has tried. And why did he fail? He might not be in Nigeria, but he has tried, but why did he fail? Thirdly, what are you trying to satisfy? Are you trying to make a name, or are you trying to build a legacy? Fourthly, you cannot start to make $1 billion from day 1. You must go through the rudiments of business. There are 5-6 different business ideas God has given me. And guess one of the reasons why I have so laid back, because I have continuously remained in my comfort zone because I receive a salary. And one of those businesses, somebody else is doing it. And let me tell you, and I'm not, and I mean, maybe that's one of the reasons why God said that shit. In 90, God said, okay, I wanted to come up with an artisan, so that if you need a block, I have come up with everything. And that's data. That's 90. Data is now king. But I was afraid because I pitched my tent to someone. And the person said, oh, no. Never get discouraged when you share your business ideas with your competitors. Because nobody else can do it better, because when they give it to you, God gives it to you alone. And then I shied back. Guess what? Another company tried it, but they failed. I think I'll stop at this point and then I'll allow. Thank you very much. So much.
You know the drill. For your billions, a resounding handpiece. In the academia, it's called case study. The case study for today's presentation was the experience. We did not know that they used to experience a lot of things in that experience. But yeah, gaining insider insights to situations that we see being executed seamlessly and flawlessly makes you see that nothing comes off without a lot of work. Nothing comes off without a lot of work. The experience is a big project. When I was working with the Ogun State Cultural Troupe, we're trying to pull off because like Wabiondo pulled off a World Cup standard opening ceremony for the National Sports Festival. And the budget was, one thing I'm grateful for this year that God helped me with, being in rooms where I've had certain amounts before. So if somebody mentions $100,000, $500,000, I am comfortable hearing it. Because the budget was 5 billion naira. I helped put together the invoice for the artist. At least if you go 100 million, I shall got 70 because she had to be flown from Paris. I just saw those type of amounts and I just got confused. If someone just got $1 million, I'm like, okay, once I calculate this, that's just a little bit shy from 1.5 million. It's good. But on the ordinary day, I feel like, yeah, why we did? But as we advance, we should know that it gets better. Alright, consistency, like you said, pushing through, and one of these days we would find out that little drops of water actually really makes a mighty ocean. So please, once again, a big hand for the billionaire himself, the internet solution provider to the experience. Hello.